It has been 2 years since NASA's James Webb telescope gave us a stunning first look at the depths of our universe.
James Webb Space Telescope spotted a large object about 10 light years away moving toward Earth.
NASA's James Webb Space Telescope has hardly opened its eyes, and the universe is new.
We have a fully deployed JWST observatory.
Imagine peering through the most powerful telescope ever built and spotting what looks like glowing city lights on a distant planet. Sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, right? Well, it just happened, and Elon Musk has a jaw-dropping announcement that's sending shockwaves through the scientific community. Could we finally have proof of intelligent life just 4 light years away? What does this mean for humanity? And more importantly, what happens next? Strap in, because we're diving into one of the most mind-blowing space discoveries ever made. You don't want to miss this. Hit that like button and let's get started. The unsettling announcement. The world was brought to its feet when the CEO of SpaceX and Twitteratus Elon Musk made a rather startling statement. The James Webb Space Telescope had seen artificial-like lights on Proxima B, a planet which orbits the Proxima Centauri star, the closest star to the Sun. The claim, made by the CEO of SpaceX, came along with his impromptu press conference with NASA's leading astronomists and therefore sent ripples within the scientific fraternity almost instantly. Consequently, as a result of all his proclamations about the expectation of human beings and the civilization out there, many were left wondering if the great unveiling of the existence of extraterrestrial life was around the corner. The communiqué indicated that notable structures on the dark side of the planet Proxima B, spaced out and consistent with city lights as viewed from space or Earth in orbit, were picked by the infrared instruments of the just on the bright side of the planet. Echoing Zurbuchen's assertions, light's structural disposition unexplained in nature had to take precedence over ruling out naturally occurring entities. That is quite different from what we have ever seen, Zurbuchen said, taking note of the incredible accuracy of the telescope's tools. Musk's presence only served to intensify matters, for in addition to his plans to build a flourishing city on Mars, his dreams of humanity venturing into the stars seemed far more possible. He later added that the scientists and government officials of the world should focus on developing technologies for propulsion of the vessel and its parts, which would make it possible to reach Proxima B and back within a mortal life. Musk's emotional appeal in defense of this project evoked diverse views. Some even considered it a courageous attempt to reach out, while most were wary of the results of the induced contact with an advanced civilization. The particulars of the announcement traveled quickly, if not instantly, enthralling the mass media and raising extensive discussions on the sensibility of such an announcement. If indeed the lights on Proxima B are from an intelligent source, it will be one of the most significant events to happen in the history of mankind, which will compel the people to think about their role in the universe and get ready for coexistence. As the scientific community prepares for more drilling activity, one fact remains. The James Webb Space Telescope has opened for us something that may radically change the self-image of humankind. But what exactly makes Proxima B so special that it could be hiding a secret civilization just 4 light years away? Proxima B, the enigmatic exoplanet. For a long time, everybody bent their brains trying to construct what Proxima B, the elusive planet revolving around Proxima Centauri, looked like. The fascination with the distant planet is mainly attributed to its capacity to support life. A team of researchers working with Dr. Guillaume Anglada Escudé at Queen Mary University of London announced the discovery of this rocky planet in the year 2016. This tectonically active planet made headlines with commotion, as it was one of the most accessible places beyond the Earth that felt potentially rich in extraterrestrial life. With respect to the exoplanets, which are nearer planets to the Earth, that are beyond comparison proximity to the solar system. This one comes a paltry distance of 4.24 light-years away from the planet Earth. What is particularly curious about Proxima B is the fact that it falls on the so-called Goldilocks zone of its parent star, where conditions may be right for liquid water to exist. With a mass estimated to be approximately 1.17 of Earth's mass, the planet could potentially have a solid crust, raising the chances of Earth-like conditions on the planet. Nevertheless, the parent star for Proxima B, Proxima Centauri, is a red dwarf which is characterized by strong solar flares, which may pose challenges to the existence of life forms as well as the atmosphere of the planet. In spite of these difficulties, Proxima B continues to lead the pack in the quest for potentially habitable planets. The European Southern Observatory and other space-related organizations have spent a lot of time and energy into understanding the atmosphere and surface properties of the planet. Experts such as Dr. Ignacy Ribas from the Institute of Space Studies of Catalonia have led the attempts at fathoming what life possibilities exist on Proxima B using cutting-edge observational methods, radial velocity, and transit photometry, among others. At this point, thanks to the James Webb Space Telescope that has recently located light emissions of various shapes and designs on its surface, Proxima B is again at the center of something very interesting about astronomy. Should the lights be determined to be man-made, it would mean that this modest planet could possibly contain the first inklings of other intelligent life forms. The potential awaits in the race to the fore as researchers such as Dr. Ribas and Dr. Anglada Escudé contends the current state of affairs is not the end of the pursuit of knowledge about this particular alien planet, but simply the beginning. James Webb Telescope's mission. The James Webb Space Telescope, JWST, which was built and launched by NASA in December 2021, is believed justifiably to become the most powerful space observatory constructed ever for the purpose of revealing the secrets of the universe. According to its original conception, JWST was expected to replace the Hubble Space Telescope. Emphasis was thus placed on the study of the galaxy formation era, the formation of galaxies, their stars, and planetary systems. It includes a series of technical improvements, which includes these 6.5 m gold-coated monstrosity of a mirror with ultra-high sensitivity infrared telescopes that shows what even the deepest voids have to offer and shows the eye of phenomena that previously built telescopes did not see. The transmission spectroscopy is one of the key capabilities of JWST, which is used for exoplanets to investigate the atmospheres of exoplanets at a distance. Such techniques allow for the identification of water, carbon dioxide, methane, and other possible indicators of life. Under the guidance of Dr. Klaus Pontoppidan, an exoplanet atmosphere specialist, this telescope has incredibly contributed in revealing the planets beyond the stars and the possibility for available habitable variables outside of the solar system. Even though the main purpose of the JWST was to precisely analyze the structure of galaxies and explore the so-called dark ages of the universe, its robust infrared features have also proved to be beneficial in exoplanet studies. This rather broad utility has made it possible for researchers to observe minor disturbances in the atmospheres or surfaces of planets, for example, the unusual light curves on Proxima B. These experiences have placed the JWST squarely at the center stage, with its initial focus on the study of very far-away galaxies changed to the search for advancement of what seems to be technology from outer space. There is a united struggle in the scientific community concerning this issue, which has served to enhance the existing significance of the telescope mission. It is not simply a device aimed at providing a snapshot of history in the past and the distant future. As such, it is no longer simply a scheme to study the past, but a WST papyrus that promises to change the very architecture of now, of the present time. When it comes to picking up and interpreting such light, turning it into something more than a light, that is also what it could do for the history of this planet, this civilization, and this space. The potential for such design to assist efforts in locating other intelligent civilizations may transform humanity's vision of its place in the universe and increase even more the accords for pursuing outer space and reaching out to other advanced beings. What the lights on Proxima B mean. There's been a lot of deliberation on the source of strange bright spots previously observed by James Webb Space Telescope on Proxima B. These lights, when captured by an advanced infrared camera, are quite organized, clustered and patterned like the well-known view of city lights from orbit. In such a configuration, it is conceivable that these lights are man-made, as it suggests an advanced civilization, as there is technology that produces lights from such distances. In that case, it would be the first proven case of extraterrestrial life existing in the universe, making Proxima B the primary focus of present as well future developing space missions. Readers will note that scientists are looking at other, more banal or natural explanations of the lights, such as volcanic activity, mirror ice, or rare atmospheric effects that might create a similar distribution of lights. Still, the patterns or arrangement of the lights is too regular and spaced out, and these scenarios seem less plausible. Dr. Thomas Zurbuchen, who was the head of NASA's Science Mission Directorate previously, stated that while it is good to maintain a checks about things, many of them are on a certain stage. These lights are very organized and need to be researched in a deeper way. If true, it is about revolutionizing life and civilization in the universe as we know it. It is not only an exploration of science and knowledge. Suppose the lights are a sign of a more complex society. In that case, we must ask whether such a civilization has existed before us and possesses more advanced technology and what their purpose may be. Such a finding could change the existing impression and even the aims of human space exploration programs, which are usually directed towards other planets like Mars and Moon, and maybe more focus on how to get ready to meet other intelligent life forms. It would also lead to deep considerations regarding questions of how to respond, if at all, simply waiting, giving hope, or knowing that there is likely an intelligible but vastly superior ordered system. If these lights are truly artificial, then what kind of civilization could be behind them? And could they be far more advanced than we are? A civilization older and more advanced. Should the lights seen on Proxima B be proven artificial, it implies that such civilization could have existed for many billions of years. Proxima B, the planet in which these signals were detected, is believed to be 4.85 billion years old, both older than the Earth. This gives all conceivable life forms on it some leeway in technological evolution. The additional time implied, however, could indicate that they may have been able to command even advanced technologies that we cannot comprehend in ages to come. Possessing such capabilities could entail making use of energy systems, establishing complex telecommunication systems, or even traveling between stars as human beings will someday do. The chances of coming across a civilization that is more advanced than human civilization is a double-edged sword. For such beings could be advanced in technology, their culture of communication, morality, and wars could be completely different from what we know. Dr. Jill Tarter, co-founder of the SETI Institute, proposes that such a society may have policed or even visited our solar system, but has decided to keep quiet until the present moment. In this case, there are disturbing conclusions that can be drawn. Do they know about our existence? If yes, what have they been doing for so long? Progressing society believes that advanced beings could have overcome many challenges that sorrows humanity, for example, developing sustainable energy solutions, climate engineering, or immortality. Such expertise can change the entire human civilization, provided they are willing to part with their knowledge. It is also possible that a huge deviation in technology creates a power differential, making it possible to misuse or manipulate human beings. In the past, interaction between civilizations with such differences has been detrimental to the less developed one. Contact with them may not be possible without first evaluating their way of life and objectives, whether they are explorers in search of knowledge, hermits avoiding others, or aggressors bent on conquest. The society on Proxima B, if it exists, might be driven by values and goals that bear no relation to human ideas. This is because comprehension involves a level of seriousness that cannot be described but is necessary. As humanity's reach in the universe is fast expanding, and new interactions could be worse than what has been imagined before. The Great Filter Hypothesis. The detection of what appears to be artificial lights on Proxima B has once again stirred the controversy of the so-called Great Filter Hypothesis. Garnered by economist Robin Hanson, the Great Filter Hypothesis seeks to address the paradox of the high likelihood of extraterrestrial life in the universe and the lack of evidence for such life. The Great Filter theory posits that there exists a point in development of life when such a civilization faces a barrier that may forever stop it advancing beyond that stage. For instance, the ability to extend beyond this planet. This barrier may be considered to be overcome, as in the case of the development of intelligent life, or it may be ahead of us, which poses catastrophic events that threaten any civilization at our technological status. In that sense, it is quite probable that the Great Filter has already been overcome, and that such a civilization may well be existing in Proxima B, the only proof of which are the lights. This would mean that life, including intelligent life and technological advancement, development is not as exceptional as believed before, and it's more common. This would posit that civilized humanity has sailed through and surmounted the most trying evolutionary phases, and is most likely on a Babylonian journey, such as that of Proxima B civilization. Such news would reinforce one's belief that there is always hope, because it is possible for intelligence to exist without vessel travel and still remain alive sufficiently to travel billions of light years away. In contrast, in the event that Proxima B's natives are flourishing, this may indicate that the Great Filter is still somewhere in the future. This would imply that all but the most immature of civilizations sooner or later encounter some destructive obstacle that causes their fall. Potential filters can include colliding with the enemy, with enemies being one's own people, or environmental destruction, or perhaps even more exotic threats such as gamma-ray bursts or malevolent AIs. This would be particularly disturbing, showing even more that even if Proxima B has progressed, they, and as a result we, are living on borrowed time. The implications of an advanced civilization existing in such proximity to us cannot help but make us reconsider our destiny. Are we really ready to deal with what is coming? Or are we simply rushing towards the extinction of our civilization? As more and more evidence is being gathered by scientists about Proxima B, the Great Filter Hypothesis is also a reminder to everyone that while communication with another civilization is encouraging, it could also be dangerous, reminding how vulnerable any civilization seeking to reach beyond the stars is. Communication challenges. Should the Proxima B lights indicate an advanced civilization, the next step for humanity will be to find a way to communicate, a task likely to be more of a challenge than the rest. Attached to that, addressing the most realistic issues, that even light or radio signals for that matter experience time delays as illustrated in the figure above. At 4.24 light-years away, even if a laser message was sent towards Proxima B, it would take slightly above 4 years for the message to arrive at its destination, and another 4 years for Proxima B to send back a response. This great gap would imply that expectations of communication in real time would be impossible. For instance, a simple share of messages could take close to 10 years or more. Also, language and cognitive or sensory perceptual differences could add to the complexity of the task. This means that an alien species may not even share the same worldview as humans. They may have an entirely different way of communicating, such as through patterns, forms, light rays, or chemical substances. This indicates that sending and receiving requests or greetings, however simple, would be a long process involving heavy logistics and technology. Simple symbols and signatures in greetings may not exist in our languages, says Dr. Douglas Varcoch, president of METI, Messaging Extraterrestrial Intelligence, himself. Which barriers must be crossed in this age of intergalactic colonization and interaction? There are many more: social, moral, and ethical, for example. How is it possible to convey thoughts and ideas to one another without the risk of backlash or offending other parties? After all, even a simple gesture could be misconstrued as hostile or destructive. Maybe the aliens will think too highly of themselves and regard us as too degenerate for any interaction. Or perhaps they don't wish to talk, having, for lack of a better phrase, gone underground for some good cause. In such a course of events, restraint would be the best option. Encouraging interaction might be perceived as intrusive and could lead to unwanted aggression. We are convinced that any first contact could only be realized scientifically, or it will be counterproductive. Technical means alone are not enough. Linguists, anthropologists, and also ethicists would be called upon to create messages that would not be disturbing or offensive, that would be clear and understandable to all. It is one option to use mathematics or principles of science, as these have a higher chance of appreciation amongst any race that has attained superior technology. Still, no communications can be given recklessly until a signal is actually received. We are walking on eggs. One advance in this galactic dialogue, and the repercussions can be grave. What one can neither see nor imagine: irreversible alterations. Ethical and philosophical implications. The possibility of being able to communicate with extraterrestrial beings from Proxima B poses formidable ethical questions. Should we even attempt contact, for starters? In the past, every interaction between two different human societies has nearly always led to destruction of the less advanced society. Making contact with an alien civilization could turn out to be a threat to that civilization, or even worse, threaten the very people that are trying to make contact with the advanced civilization. In this regard, caution must be exercised, according to Dr. Jill Tarter, one of the founders of the SETI Institute. The reasons for this statement are that self-introduction to the species with unknown motives and ethics has consequences which need to be addressed in advance. This notification would also raise any set of civilization's self-centric understanding in the universe's distribution of intelligence. If another advanced being inhabits this planet, then its density is not easily comprehensible in relation to its significance. In this case, humanity is no longer the edge of the galaxy. How would philosophers or theologians reason in such conditions? Does this dispensation encourage a less anthropocentric-centered perspective, as in one that looks into other galaxies, or does it have larger implications of one unifying us that is more complex than what is degenerating? These issues intrigue without being confined to human experiences and biological evolution stories and our imagination of gender-melted societies. Furthermore, there is the ethical question of whether or how to interact with a different civilization. If an extraterrestrial society is less developed than us, would we share our technology and knowledge? If we are more knowledgeable, are we prepared to learn from them at the expense of our cultural or technological independence? Right or wrong is not the only conundrum that ethical considerations present. There is also the issue of autonomy, the level of interference that can be exercised over other beings, the need to preserve other societies, and the aim of any possible interactions, should there be any, is such interactions take place in the most favorable conditions possible, beneficial to all parties. An interstellar reaching out by human beings needs first to be founded on better formulated moral principles. But before we decide how to approach them, we have to ask ourselves, could these beings be potential allies or a deadly threat to humanity? Potential risks, friend or foe? The recent potential discovery of artificial lights on Proxima B has both thrilled and terrified inquisitive scientific minds, as it poses great threats that need to be handled with utmost caution. Advanced civilization so close to Earth has serious implications. Firstly, it is whether this civilization, if it exists, has the same concept of alliances, enemies, and everything in between. If their level of progress is too high, then humanity could be viewed as a lesser or trivial society, and that in itself can be a danger. Dr. Stephen Hawking notably said that humanity should be cautious in communicating with extraterrestrial entities, as they may treat us the same way as we treat Jacqueline in the zoo, or worse, as an infestation that needs to be controlled. There is also the risk of interspecies conflicts caused by misinterpretation or miscalculation or unintentional provocations. Our base or crude forms of greetings may be perceived as hostility at best, inciting the other party into war. Instead, if the inhabitants of Proxima B are aware of our existence and have consciously chosen not to engage, then they could be in hiding for good reason. It is postulated that if we disclose ourselves, there could be retaliation or a risk of a great disturbance to a status quo maintained among cities or civilizations from space. Therefore, this begs the question that any form of outreach needs to be very carefully strategized so as not to do anything that can lead to hostilities. Despite the fact that the Proxima B's inhabitants may not be hostile as such, the mere awareness of their existence can shake world politics here on Earth. The nations may be in a race towards making contact, which can lead into another battleground in the forms of wars, a space war, a cold war between the nations. These may include countries creating weapons that can be used outside the Earth in order to defend the country from outside forces and also conquest of unknown territories. The resulting balance of power relations generated by the rise of space and outside interference with Proxima B and its structures might pose threats as serious as a military straddle of Proxima B itself. The real threat may be the split within the Earth, with all the nations fighting for land and space. Another risk is that of cultural pollution or domination. If we make contact, careful steps must be taken to avoid exporting our values and beliefs, technologies, or even way of life to an alien population that may not wish to accept them, and more importantly, may not be ready for such a move. The age of imperialism on Earth demonstrates with tragic clarity what happens when technologically superior cultures come into contact with and dominate inferior ones. On the other hand, if the civilization of Proxima B is highly progressive, they may consider the Earth's population as a potential conquest or even resources, threatening our sovereignty. It would be foolish to disregard the risks involved with creating contact. That first interstellar meeting of nations is a determining factor for the existence of either or both civilizations for hundreds of ages to come. What's next for space exploration? The recent sighting of strange lights on Proxima B has created a distraction in the already existing priorities of mankind in the exploration of space. Maybe there is a chance that the attention will shift away from the Moon and Mars towards the more distant goals. Should these lights turn out to be man-made, Proxima B will be at the center of interstellar exploration. Whenever FSF and NASA, as well as ESA and even businesses such as SpaceX, may include in their plans the sending of probes to this exoplanet or even crewed voyages there. Undoubtedly, The hurdles of such a quest are quite high. However, it is quite possible that the waiting period for the new generation of ion thrusters, laser sails, warp drives, among others, will be shortened. There is also the possibility to carry out introduced concepts such as the introduction of sending unmanned probes that can travel at a percent of the speed of light closer to the surface of Proxima B, more scanning the atmosphere and surface of the planet. Dubbed Breakthrough Starshot, which is spearheaded by billionaire Yuri Milner and physicist the late Stephen Hawking, plans to send a fleet of tiny light sails to the star Proxima Centauri at speeds of 15 to 20% the speed of light, which would take just over 20 years to reach. If these probes are created and launched, they may be able to send the first pictures and other data of Proxima B that will determine whether the lights are natural, or rather, there is an advanced civilization probed there. Yet if one considers a human mission, that is far more dangerous and complex. With the current technology, Proxima B would take many thousands of years to be reached in a spacecraft with humans on board. Hence, technologies like nuclear fusion engines, antimatter motors, or hibernation, unlike any known treatments for astronauts that would be required for such travel, are ideas scientists and engineers are looking into. Mission Proxima B will be an all-inclusive undertaking requiring extensive international cooperation and funding. Efforts in technologies that now only exist or almost exist in films, developing. Therefore, it will be a task for human creativity for ages to come. Such a discovery is likely to advance the launch of global initiatives for enhancement of space exploration, which can be similar to the ISS, but even bigger. These nations, as well as private sector organizations, might join hands and work towards the establishment of an interstellar task group with the aim of studying Proxima B and sustaining contact with it. However, such an initiative will require not only technological channels to be overcome, but also moral, diplomatic, and military strategies introduced so that humanity does not plunge into this new area of space exploration aimlessly without collaboration and plans on how to deal with possible interaction with aliens. So what do you think? Are we on the brink of discovering intelligent life, or is there a natural explanation for those mysterious lights? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to smash that like button and share it with your fellow space enthusiasts. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss a new upload. Thanks for watching, and remember, the universe is full of surprises, so keep looking up.